Good evening. Welcome in to the team media room above Faroe Field. I can't see anything. It is dark in here. I am running this show solo. There, I'm on your screen. Gabe DeArmond, PowerMizzou.com, live with you after a 42-31 Missouri win in the border war over the University of Kansas. Before we get to the show and breaking it down and all of your comments and all of those things, I do want to remind you that we are brought to you after every single Missouri football game this year by Yuengling Lager, America's oldest brewery. Yuengling's available in 24 states. The locations in Pennsylvania and in Florida, you should tour them. Shout out to Mike Benning, to Brittany today, hosting the Power Mizzou tailgate. Fantastic time had by all. Dennis Gates stopped by. A lot of the basketball assistants were there. A lot of you guys were there. Well, maybe not you guys, but a lot of our subscribers were there. We appreciate it all. Now that that's all taken care of, we are going to get down to business. And on the other side of your screen right there, Cody Goodwin. Cody, just a kind of boring everyday week to start, huh? Like nothing big today.
This man, what a crazy week. And I kind of anticipated it, right? Which is why, not to go too inside baseball here, that I told you that, hey, I'm available. I'm ready to rock and roll this week of all weeks, Missouri, Kansas, the border war, all that jazz. But, man, did we got a fantastic game to kind of cap the week off. What a busy week. And then what a crazy game. Where do we start with this, Gabe?
Yeah, and I want to let all you guys know, comments, questions, we're getting to them. I will throw them up as I see them in the stream. We'll try our best to keep up with it. We generally start this thing just kind of general overarching thoughts from Cody and I. Then we'll dive into a little bit more specific stuff, get to some voicemails. So, Cody, I spent the whole fourth quarter thinking Missouri has to win this game. Because if Missouri doesn't win this game, I don't know how to explain that Missouri didn't win a game in which it outgained its opponent by almost 300 yards. That game felt to me most of the second half like Missouri should be up 14 points and just somehow wasn't.
I mean, the explanation is that they gave up way too many big plays to Kansas. You look at how the game kind of unfolded and the way, 3 and out to start for the defense. Great. Then they mowed down the field, scored a touchdown. And then you look at how Kansas was able to score their points. They had that 24-yard pass on that first touchdown drive that kind of opened things up a little bit. They obviously had the strip sack of Bo that they were able to turn into a scoop and score. That was another pretty monster play. Fourth down, they had Jalen Daniels I forget who it was, but it was a 50-yard pass. They got them all the way down to the goal line, ultimately pushed in for a touchdown. And then their second half touchdown drive, when they were able to kind of figure some things out in the fourth quarter to go take the lead, Daniels had completions of 24 and 25 yards. He had a 19-yard run. They're just chunk play after chunk play after chunk play. Outside of those big chunk plays, I thought Mizzou did pretty fine on them defensively, but obviously those big chunk plays are what led to the points. There was another drive that ultimately led to points where I think it was that weird phantom face mask penalty where we weren't sure if he actually grabbed the face mask, but his helmet turned. And, they were just giving up way too many chunk yardage big plays. And that's really what kept Kansas in this game.
Yeah, Kansas had about 7 plays and scored a defensive touchdown. And I can't find it right now, but somebody said in the chat, oh, here it is. Atheos says, after the first quarter, we were all punching ourselves in the, just be happy with the win. Ultimately, I don't want to say this played out the way I expected it to play out because that was so weird and so much happened that nobody foresaw that coming. But in a game like this, with everything that's at stake, all the emotion, haven't played in 14 years. The only thing that really matters is that you have at least one more point than they do at the end of the day. And the truth is, after falling behind 21-6, Missouri outscored them 35-10. Missouri kind of dominated that game everywhere but on the scoreboard.
Yeah, and Drink kind of mentioned that in the postgame where, hey, first quarter, Kansas came out and punched him in the mouth, right? Mizzou forced that first 3 and out, and then Kansas kind of walked down the field. They were able to sack Bo and turn that into points. And then they walked down the field again when they got the ball back. And next thing you know, it's 21-6. And we're all kind of looking at each other in the press box what's going on here? And then after that, you could tell that Mizzou settled down a little bit. The second quarter, a lot of ball control, lots of long, sustaining drives where they were able to move the ball. It was kind of a weird way to get back to 21 all, right? Because they did it with a touchdown, a safety, a field goal, 2 field goals, just like Drink probably drew it up, right? But they got punched in the mouth in that first quarter. And then give Mizzou a lot of credit, man. They were able to settle down. Hey, okay, we withstood these first couple of punches. We withstood this storm. We kind of know how to play defense against these guys. Now let's just go play the game. And that's what they did. And I think the box score really tells it. And you had mentioned it too, almost 600 total yards of offense. Kansas had 254, right? Mizzou went, 10 of 19 on third down, 4 of 5 on fourth down, which I know that you'll get into. Kansas continues to struggle on third down. That was something that you and I kind of quietly were going to pay attention to during this game, 3 of 10. So, hey, like Mizzou, by and large, like I think they're probably right. You take away some of those mistakes. I thought Mizzou played really well and really played their game in the way that you and I both thought they probably would coming in.
Yeah, and ultimately, like when Missouri had to get it done, Missouri got it done. I want to shout out some of you guys watching. We got almost 600 people on here already. Shake and Blake, thanks for the super chat. Ryan Wimhoff, Ryan has a long history of super chatting us just so his comments get on the stream. So he's I believe if I'm reading this right, he's a huge Pat Forty fan, and he wants to shout out Mizzou journalism alum Pat Forty for furthering the profession. Tyba Knight, Missouri did a lot right. However, a lot of open Kansas receivers. We got lucky they couldn't catch the ball. No constant pressure. We will get into that because I actually do agree with most of that. So look, we never ask for your super chats, but certainly always appreciate them. Hillbilly Humdinger says, "Kids me, Gabe." I don't know if he wants to have kids with me, if he wants me to kiss him, or he's just complimenting me. But Cody, this is the post game show, man. Get used to it. It's a little different.
Everybody's in a good mood though, which I'm totally here for. Like, you guys should probably absolutely enjoy this win. Like, it was a wild roller coaster ride, and we'll get into the nitty gritty and the details of it. But like this was a good win, and I think we learned a lot about this Missouri team along the way. That somebody said in the chat or in the comments that very resilient team, and I tend to agree with them. Like, again, they got punched in the mouth in the first quarter. They were able to rally and take the lead. There were 3 different lead changes in the fourth quarter alone. Like, this Mizzou team did not back down from the challenge, and we'll get into this too. Like, the quarterback continued to produce. Bo Perbula was money when Mizzou needed him to be. The offensive line, I thought, played pretty well overall and got some push, and you could tell that they were really leaning on Kansas in the second half. And then the defense, they came up big with enough big plays when they needed to. I thought this was a really good win for Mizzou and showed a lot about where they're at between the years.
All right, so when so much happened, I just find often the easiest thing is let's just boil it down to like 2 or 3 quick hit questions. So let's start here. Player of the game for you. I think I know where you're going to go, and I think it's different than somewhere I'm going to go. But if you have to say this guy's the reason Missouri won the game, who are you going with?
I'm probably going Bo, and that might be the easy answer, Bo Perbula. But like, dude, he was nails in this game. 30 of 39, 334 yards, 3 touchdowns. He is the reason Mizzou went 4 of 5 on fourth down. Like, I had to look this up because I knew they threw the ball every single fourth down. He had a 3-yard touchdown pass to Kevin Coleman, who had a tremendous game himself. 10 catches, 126 yards, and a touchdown. He was money on some gotta have it downs for Mizzou. So again, first fourth down play, 3-yard touchdown from Bo to KC3. Another one, 14 yards to the freshman Donovan on that one-handed ridiculous catch down the sideline. I'm sure we'll probably talk a little bit more about that. Incomplete on the next one, but then 10 yards again to KC3 to move the chains. And then that 27-yard touchdown pass to Brett Norfleet to effectively – that maybe wasn't to effectively ice the game, but that was to give them the lead late in the game. And so, like, Bo was just – he was money. He was good. He didn't really use his legs a ton, but he did at times. He also, like, if you want to look at the whole getting punched in the face and having to come back, he kind of faked that himself. With in the first quarter, really, he stepped up in the pocket to go get the first down and ended up fumbling the ball that turned into a KU touchdown. And then he came right back. Like, he was just so calm. And the same thing that I saw last week when they were playing Central Arkansas, like, he is so calm in the pocket. He knows where to go with the ball. He's very confident when he throws the ball. He had some dimes today. Like, there were a couple of times where I grabbed your shoulder in the press box because I was just like, yeah. I'm like, there's some throws here that, like, I'm not sure I realized that he could make. And they were very, very impressive, just putting the ball where only his receivers can get it. Like, him, to me, like, being able to be the team captain, step up when they needed him, and also just to be able to overcome his own little bit of adversity in this game. Like, he was tremendous. And I figured I was really intrigued by the quarterbacks coming in because you knew that Jalen Daniels from Kansas, and we'll discuss his game, but you knew that coming in, like, he was a dude that could take over a game like this and potentially win a game like this because he's so special in just his skill set and what he's able to do, both running and throwing the ball. I don't really know that we were sure that Bo could be a dude like that. And I don't know that he necessarily proved that, but he proved to us that, like, hey, when the chips are down and they need a play, he's able to step up and make that play. And that's really, really good for a Missouri team that's got some pretty big goals this season.
Super interesting fact about Bo that I didn't realize. I'll give Callum McAndrew credit for bringing this up in the post-game press conference. This is the first game in his college career Bo has both started and finished, which is pretty wild, the way he played. I thought Bo was going to be your answer, which is why I wanted to ask you first. We'll get back to him in a minute. Do want to get out some more super chats in here. Again, guys, we won't ask you for him, but you'll get on the show if you do it. Brandon, last year's team loses that game after the first quarter performance. I don't know if last year's team does. And Drink has developed a tough program here. Like, they win games like this. Now, they didn't his first couple of years, but they have lately. So I don't know if last year's team does. Alubade is so much better than we could have hoped for. Coleman's exactly what we needed. Wide receiver room is stacked. I want to put this up from Jimbo Slice for this reason. My player of this game is Kevin Cole. 10 catches, 126. And, like, I wrote this in instant analysis. When Bo needs a play, that's where he's looking. 4th and 7, Missouri's down. If they don't get it with, 6 minutes left, something like that, the game's not necessarily over. But there's a decent chance the game's over. Missouri's down 28, 24, 31, 28, I don't know, somewhere in that range. 4th and 7, and he goes to Coleman. And Coleman, I don't think in the press box, Cody, we had an appreciation for how tough that catch was. Like, from what I got from people that were watching on TV and from the way Kevin described it in the press conference, like, I think that was a tougher catch. And I think you'll realize it maybe when you go back and watch the game tomorrow. Maybe we'll get a little better appreciation for the play that was. But he is in a wide receiver room that does have some options, in a quarterback or in an offense that I think has a lot of guys that can make plays. That's your alpha. That's your guy. That's your, if you need 4th and 17 against Florida, that's where the ball is going. I think that's a really good thing to identify in week 2. So that leads into kind of the next thing I want to do to kind of wrap our big picture stuff is reason to hope and reason to be concerned. So I'm going to go reason to hope, and mine ties in with what you said. Bo Pribula, look, I think he's been better than any of us could have imagined. And, like, the throw to Donovan Alubade was sick. Now, amazing catch, but he put it in the only place that he could put it. But what it ties into for me is a bigger picture thing. Kirby Moore has been elite through 2 weeks. Like, the Central Arkansas was tougher to tell, but, like, the play action touchdown he designed for Brett Norfleet in that game was great. I mean, there are wide open dudes. Like, 4th and 3, Brett Norfleet is legitimately uncovered for a 27-yard touchdown. He is using Bo's legs. He is getting Bo out of the pocket. It's not always to run, but he is putting Bo in positions to do things. And I think it is a sign that, as someone said in the chat, like, Kirby Moore has something at quarterback he has not had here before. Missouri has upgraded at quarterback, and I do not think it is a small upgrade from last year.
No, he seems more and more, and again, it's only week 2. Drink stressed that in the presser. Like, I think there's still some steps and some things we need to see from Bo before I think we really start thinking and dreaming really big. But, like, so far he has checked every box. He has passed every test and then some, and just the way he's gone about it. And I know I wrote this in the rewatch last week watching Central Arkansas. Like, there were a lot of throws in that game running a very vanilla offensive playbook that you just knew were going to translate, right? Throwing to the spot instead of throwing to a receiver, ball placement, just understanding the energy of the game and knowing when to step up in the pocket, when to step up and run, when to step up and throw. Like, there's just, he's got this innate playmaking ability. And I think we saw another level of that today, especially when Mizzou needed him. Like, he was tremendous when he stepped up. It wasn't, it got to that point in the game where it's like, all right, we know that the offense is going to move the ball. We know they're going to score. Is the defense going to get the stop? Like, that was more or less the question that we had in this game, just the way that the fourth quarter ultimately unfolded. And so, yeah, I agree with you. Like, reason to hope. Like, it seems like, again, 2 weeks in, a lot still that we need to see before I think we really start thinking and dreaming big with this team this year. But the more I see of Bo, the more it's like, man, like, and I think I wrote it in my final thoughts before today's game, like the supporting cast, and really I was kind of alluding to more specifically on offense, the offensive line, but like the supporting cast gives you a really high floor. The quarterback kind of determines your ceiling. And I think what we've learned about Bo so far is that this Mizzou ceiling, like, I still don't think we know where it's at because of how much he continues to show us week to week. So it was a really good performance. I don't know if he's still a guy that's capable of maybe a special performance, but like, I'm starting to think maybe, perhaps, like he'll have his opportunity to show us at the very least.
30 of 39 for 334 and 3 touchdowns, pretty special in this game. To be honest, we're up over 750, guys. Awesome. My Golden Knights hit 1,000. We've never had 1,000 people on a postgame show. Let's hit 1,000 tonight. So like, comment, share, subscribe, text it to your friends, call your buddy that's out at Harpo's and tell him to get it on FaceTime Live or something, YouTube Live, whatever. Robert Nicholas, Daniel Grove, thank you for the super chats. So I want to also do one quick reason to hope thing I was happy about. I was happy they didn't lose the first game you covered, Cody, because it was going to be your fault, man. Like you would have been blamed for it in here. They would have been very upset with you.
You know what's interesting is, like, even when they were down 21-6, I don't know that I actually thought they were going to lose the game, because
I never thought they were.
It was so, like, the way that they took the lead. Like, I don't want to say it was fluky because, like, that was a pretty good play to force the strip, to return it for a touchdown. Like, that's, and the offense, like, Kansas offense looked really, really good in that first quarter. They clearly came in with a game plan ready to go. But it was when they were able to sustain a couple of long drives and, like, even, like, I don't know that they needed to tie it. They just needed, I think, to be within a possession going into half, and I would have probably felt okay. But the fact that they were able to tie it and claw all the way back, I was like, all right, like, at some point, talent's going to win out in this game, and it wasn't until the fourth quarter that they were able to finally pull away and put the nail in the coffin. But I don't know that I was ever really truly worried, but after that first quarter, I was kind of like, okay, this is going to be really interesting, isn't it?
When KU went down and took the 31-28 lead, I started to think, well, I didn't really – after Missouri got them down, I didn't think KU would come back and take the lead again. They did. That made me wonder a little bit. But as D-My says, Mizzou spotted KU 21 points and covered. So that's actually really well put. So last thing, if you get – like you said, there's things we don't know here about this team. If there's I don't know if you call it remaining question, concern, something you come out of this game thinking this could get them down the road, where are you at with that?
A couple of smaller things, and maybe I'll know a little bit more after I rewatch the game, but offensive line was fine. I think they need to be a little bit better, and I know that Drink kind of warned us coming in, and we knew that Kansas defensive line, that was the strength, and you could tell that they won their fair share of battles. I think they sacked Bo 3 or 4 times. So, and they were in the backfield, finished with 7 tackles for loss, 4 total sacks. So, like, that's a little bit of a concern because you haven't even hit the SEC schedule yet. And South Carolina is going to be that first SEC game. They've got killers on that D line. So I'd like to see a little bit more from the offensive line. Again, fine, not good, not bad, just fine. The other thing that really worried me, and I think it was maybe more of just they had a miscommunication for a series, but like secondary got chewed up a little bit at times. Just giving up the deep ball, like that was all those big deep passing plays, like that was a little worrisome. And then in the second half, when Kansas walked right back down the field to take the lead, even Drink was like, I was a little disappointed. We switched to zone coverage, and Jalen was just finding the holes in the defense. That was a little concerning that you kind of let that happen that late in the game, especially after you had finally recaptured the energy. That was a little concerning. So, I think just the offensive line, I think they improved, but this was also a better team than Central Arkansas. And then the secondary getting chewed up a little bit. That worries me a little bit moving forward, given the quarterbacks they still have to play on the schedule.
You mentioned South Carolina. I tell you what, I'm real happy after this game that Bengali Kamara transferred to Kansas because that dude wasn't even supposed to play today, and he was the best defensive player on either team. He was all over the place. So he wasn't good enough at Kansas to elevate that team to a win. Probably be glad he's not teaming up with the guys that are still at South Carolina because that would help a lot. Ron Davis, appreciate the shout out. It's a good thing. Hey, he's donating Super Chat because he not only bet Missouri on the game, he doubled down on live bet when they were down 15. So we appreciate a portion of your winnings. We do not encourage sports gambling, but if you do gamble and you win and you want to give us some of that winning after the game on the postgame show, we will accept it. We don't tell you to gamble, but if you gamble and give us some, we will not turn it down. So Ron, appreciate that, man. So you kind of touched on my concern out of this game, and it is like, how was this close? It was close by big plays. Well, big plays is how Missouri had a lot of closer games than they were supposed to last year. Like, they mostly dominated Boston College and gave Thomas Castellanos 2 long touchdown passes. They kind of had Vandy played pretty well and gave up some big plays to Vandy that sent that game to overtime. That didn't go away. And my concern, and look, shout out Dalen Carnell for a beautiful interception to end the game. The game was over by then. Like, I don't mean to take away from Dalen's play. It was a heck of a play. But, like, they weren't winning the game by then anyway. But, like, my concern is that Missouri has a lot of safeties that are really good linebackers. Like, Dalen Carnell is more of he plays that hybrid position, but he's more of a linebacker than a safety. Kansas caught him 2 or 3 times, 50 yards downfield covering. That can't be the matchup. Like, the first time they completed a 50-yard pass. The second time they didn't, and they shouldn't. Like, Daniels had a dude wide open down the middle of the field, had time to make lunch in the pocket, and just overthrew him. Like, it should have been a 75-yard touchdown. And that wasn't all Dalen's fault, but the other guy in coverage there was Jalen Catalon, who will come up and hit you, but I'm not sold on the coverage yet. Marvin Burks, he'll come up and knock you into next week, but sometimes when he does that, you've play faked and you threw it over his head. So I'm a little worried about the last line of defense. Like, that position is what the defensive line wasn't great today, but I think they've got enough guys. Linebacker does not concern me at all. Cornerback, I think, is good enough, and I think you can hide it. Safety's my concern here.
Yeah, there were just a handful of plays where we were sitting in the press box trying to rewind. Somebody would have the broadcast up just to look to see what happened. And sometimes it was safeties coming down too low, right? I think it was Kansas's first touchdown pass to Hinshaw, that 15-yarder. Like that, the safety just bit way too hard, and the tight end was wide open right over the middle, right? Other times it was deep plays. And so I think that's the reason for concern, because you've got some strong-arm quarterbacks still coming down the schedule. Lenore Sellers, right? Diego Pavia, maybe not super strong-arm, but he's crafty and kind of thrives in the chaos. But like John Mateer later in the season against Oklahoma, I know they're playing tonight. I'm curious to see how that game holds up. Like there's a lot of good quarterbacks in the SEC that this Missouri team is still going to have to face, and you can only rely on your defensive front so much. At some point, your secondary is going to have to step up and make a few plays. And I agree, like the safeties specifically, maybe not so much the corners, but the safeties specifically, just too many busted coverages, too many times where they look like they were Batman, it was like henchmen trying to follow like the Kansas receiver down the field. Like it was bad. You can't have that.
And I want to be clear, like, we're not saying the defense was bad. Like, overall, they were like,
we might be nitpicking a little bit.
They had some bad plays. We are not saying this was a bad defensive performance or this defense is bad. But, like, I think the way this team wants to be judged, like, even talking about Bo after the game, Drink was like, hey, guys, we're 2 weeks in. Like, pump the brakes. Like, he had a big turnover. There were some times he wasn't good enough in the pocket. You know, like, he did a lot of good things. We've got a lot to work on. The way this team wants to be judged is, can they get to 10 and can they make the playoff? That's the way I'm going to judge it. So what's going to hold them from that? As I see it today, the secondary needs to be better. I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that.
Yeah. I mean, if that's the standard we're going to hold them to, then that's the lens through which we'll view this team the rest of the season. And yeah, they do need to be better. You can't be giving up big plays like that, especially with bigger games coming down the pike that they know they're going to have to win to get to that 10 or 11 win mark.
No question. So I'm going to try to, again, Billy has had internet nightmares. He is in the midst of a move. So I'm doing this a little bit solo. So we're going to try to find some of your comments, some of your questions, if you've got questions. If there are not questions, Cody, I'm just going to initiate you to this. They constantly are going to ask us to take our shirts off.
I keep seeing it in the comments, and I'm just like, this has to be some sort of PM inside joke that I'm not privy to.
I don't honestly know exactly where it started. I believe it was with the radio show in St. Louis that I do. So they are going to ask us every week. It's never happened. It's never going to happen, but I just want to let you just warn you that it's also, it has a lot to do with this. Wynn's walking stick is on his 17th beer. So
proud of you. That's impressive. When did he start? That's impressive.
I mean, you can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning, right? So hopefully he got going before this one. So like I said, I'm going to try to get to some of your guys' questions, but we're sorting through the comments as we go. So, Cody, I want to introduce you to our post-game voicemails, which is the highlight of every show. So I say all the time, we do not screen these. We have no idea what's on them. Like there may be bad words, there may be foolishness. We don't know. So I'm just hitting play on number one.
Hi guys, my name's Warren and I'm 10 years old. They just need to throw the ball. Like on that blue line on the last play, just throw the ball.
Just throw the ball.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that's our youngest caller ever. I don't know specifically what he was talking about, but just throw the ball.
I mean, when you got a quarterback like Bo who was dealing today, like he had a couple of stretches where he'd hit 4, 5, 6 different passes in a row. And even some of the, there were a couple of drops, maybe. Like there were a few passes that weren't even on him. He had a couple that were maybe off target. But, I mean, we've raved about Bo enough. Like he continues to impress each week. And that makes me – I'll say this, too, to kind of tie the bow on the Bo conversation, no pun intended. I'm excited to see where he's going to continue to go because, he showed some really good stuff in that first week. He showed more this week. So, where's he going to be at a week from now? Where's he going to be at by the time South Carolina comes to town? Where's he going to be at when Alabama gets here? If he continues this trajectory upward, that's what has me really excited about the Bo show. If I can steal something from the forums.
And I just want to say, when I was 10 years old, I remember watching football and go, quit running. It's stupid and it bores me. Just throw the ball. So I fully support the call.
Hi, Gabe DeArmond. I'm just playing, mate. 17,000th call today. Expect plenty more. Just a football enthusiast. And this is a must-win big game if we want to go anywhere this year. Second half, 3rd and 4. Plus side of the field. I have no idea what that defensive alignment I saw on TV. Why in the hell we weren't running on 3rd down? Because it was 4-down territory anyway. Doing what Kansas did on 4th and short.
I first of all, I thought he was done for a minute. I thought it was over, and then he kept going.
A lot of breaks between his comments. It was confusing.
I don't have any idea what he's talking about. 3rd and 4. I don't know. This is a thing that I think we get trapped into, and I see it all the time with people that are even writing stories. Not everything's about a play on 2nd down in the 2nd quarter, man. I don't know.
There are some plays that we think in real time, and I know that again, not to go too inside baseball, but you're going to write a column that has to do with a play that was called earlier in the game,
right?
And sometimes those plays can set the tone. Sometimes I'll take notes on random plays that I'm that could mean something, or that was interesting, or that was cool. One, because I always rewatch the games, but then 2, it's I'm a nerd and I'm just looking for story leads and stuff like that. Right. So, but I don't
my point is I'm not exactly sure which play he was talking about, but I do like that our first 2 calls are just throw the ball, and I have no idea why we weren't running the ball. And this was a 42-31 win. So throw it more, run it more, win by more. Does that sum it up?
It makes sense to me. It's a pretty good working theory.
Perfect. Let's see what's up next. I think we got about 20 of these, and I promise, guys, we did not get all of your voicemails loaded. We're doing a million things. We missed some of them, so we're just playing a sampling.
Gabe and Cody, I just watched the end of this first half. I was refraining from calling in after the first quarter. You probably got a few of those messages already. But what a freaking response by the Tigers! Ahmad Hardy setting the tone early. Bo Prabula bouncing back, shaking off that horrible, horrible fumble. Man, the Tigers look good. Donovan Olubade, you need to be out in the field more. Kevin Coleman making big plays. Defense coming alive. Oh, boy. I think the momentum's on Big Mo side. Let's have a hell of the second half. This will either age incredibly well or incredibly poorly. MIC!
Okay, first of all, I kind of want him as a co-host. It's solid. I like the excitement. Cody, you can. I'm not trying to kick you off, but just a third guy, he'd be all right. I like him. I also love the mid-game voicemails because sometimes they turn out to be so wrong, and that's funny. This one wasn't, but he actually reminded me of something I completely forgot about that set a tone. I think Missouri went 84 yards in 25 seconds to get a field goal at the end of the first half.
That was the weirdest drive. Man. It was the weirdest drive because we were all Do you go for it? Like you don't have timeouts. Like, do you
no, I
it
was
down?
absolutely 100% against it. I was saying take a knee. They
was
had no timeouts.
I needed to. I'm pulling up on stats because I had to remember like exactly what the play was. So you had the 39-yarder by Roberts. Bo throws incomplete. You had the false start on Keegan Trust in that drive, and then Bo goes deep to KC3, and then Robbie Meyer kicks the field goal, and it was the most normal 21-21 halftime score we've ever seen.
It was the 39-yard run by Roberts that really, because like I'm going 28 seconds, you can't. Like, if you throw a pick, it's a disaster. Just take a knee, blah, blah. And then they hand it to Roberts, and he goes 40 yards, and we're going, oh, no, you got to go now, right?
Like at this point, you got to try it.
Right. But even before that, like, Kansas had the ball with 49 seconds left, and Drake calls a timeout after first down. I go, what's he doing? He's not getting the ball back. And then Kansas runs out of bounds on second down. And so that actually did allow him to call a timeout after third down and get the ball back. And I thought that – like, it's probably too much to say it really changed the game because it 21-18, 21-21. I don't know how much of a difference it is, but that drive almost to me said, like, Missouri was just going, hey, guys, just so you know, we can do absolutely anything we want today. So be ready for that.
I think there's also might be something, too, and this could be, maybe thinking too much for Drink on what the halftime conversation was. But, like, the fact that they were able to do that and get it to 21-21, like, you got to think that probably changed the conversation and at halftime a little bit because it's like, look, guys, we didn't play our best half of football. We kind of screwed up there in that first quarter, and yet it's still 0-0. Like, it is still a level ball game. We can still go out and do all the things that we thought we could do in this game. Like, that was kind of my thought. Like, and after we kind of navigated all the funny twists and turns to get to 21-21, like, that was at that point I was like, okay, like they probably feel pretty good about themselves, Like, I thought it was important. I didn't think it was necessarily important to get it to 21-21, but the fact that they did was probably like that was probably a boost of confidence for those guys in the locker room.
And I think it probably also had to be a little bit for Kansas, like, hang on, how are we in a tie game here? Like, what the hell happened?
Yeah, because it's funny. You look at some of these drives, like that was the other thing that really stood out about this. Like, Missouri did really well, like just kind of hogging the ball when they had it because they had drives of 15 plays, 75 yards, 17 plays, 63 yards, 12 plays, 75 yards, 10 plays, 75 yards. And then they had this goofy 4-play, 84-yard, 28-second drive. They got the field goal. They had the 5-play, 56-yard opening script drive. The 3-play, 75-yard touchdown that ended up with Jamal Roberts. That's when he raced down the field and basically put the nail in the coffin. Mizzou did a really good job of just hanging onto the ball, moving efficiently, moving effectively, and really that kept Kansas off the field. Like, I remember we all looked up at each other right before halftime because Kansas had run one play in the second quarter, and I think they ended up running 4 plays total. And I think between the second and third quarter, this shocked me in the postgame, they ran 14 total plays between the second and third quarter. The best defense against a guy like Jalen Daniels is to have a really good, efficient, time-sucking offense to keep him off the field, and that's what they did for half the game.
And you know what? I think it's important to point out here. We talked a lot about Jalen Daniels. He made some big plays. He also really hurt his team quite a bit.
Yes.
He fumbled. He missed what had to be a touchdown. Like, you can't miss that pass down the middle of the field. Like, Bo Prabula was the better quarterback today. I don't think there's any question about that. Do you?
No, I agree with that wholeheartedly. And yes, Kansas is in that game because a handful of the plays that Jalen Daniels made, but also they lost the game because of a handful of plays that Jalen Daniels made.
And that's his whole career.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't help but think, and this is probably oversimplifying it, but the long pass Daniels misses, the third down, there's about 3.5 minutes left, 3rd and 7. Daniels actually throws a beautiful pass to Emmanuel Henderson on the sideline, hits him in both hands, and he drops it. You know the difference in programs that are where Kansas is at and programs that are where Missouri's at? The ones that are where Missouri's at make those plays, and the ones that are where Kansas at don't.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the difference.
Yeah, and that was our thought coming into this game, that Missouri is just at such a different place as a program that this game, while it's important to the fan base and it's important to the state, and I love the fact that they're playing it again, this needed to be treated like a stepping stone for Missouri to go where it wants to go this season. Like this, and like for whatever reason, and it's probably because I grew up in Kansas City and watched all three of these teams growing up, but like for whatever reason, I had the Kansas State game from a few years ago in my head, and I just remember how like that was such a pivotal win for this team. Like you can look at it so many different ways, right? Like before, like when Drink first got here, his first few seasons, I think he had a losing record. Going into that K-State game, I want to say his Missouri teams were exactly 19-19. Since then, they've won 20 of the last 25 games, right? And like you can kind of point to that walk-off win over a K-State team that at the time was ranked 15th in the country as like, oh my goodness, we can actually do this, right? Like they had one win over a ranked team in Drink's first 3 years, and they have 5 since, right? Like they're just at such a different place. They have these bigger goals and bigger dreams. And on top of that, they know that they can get there so long as they continue to put in the work. So yes, it's great that they won this game and they got some adversity, like, you know, they faced some adversity and they were able to overcome it. But like also like even the players kind of said so. They're like, yeah, like it's great to win this. This is awesome. They got the drum, hooray, border war, all that. But also like, you know, the fact that they were, after all that chaos, still able to comfortably win it, comfortably, I guess, but like they won by 2 possessions. Yep. It's like it's a step toward the things that they want to go accomplish this season. And even with all the chaos, I still felt like they took those steps.
Yeah, I mean, I think they won comfortably. The game was over with 2.5 minutes to go. Like, game was over. Right? So that's comfortable. Ryan Wimhoff, like, I can get you Pat Forty's number. If you just want to Venmo him the money and tell him how well you think he does his job, I am absolutely willing to give you his Venmo account. You know, I know he appreciates all the compliments, and that's very nice. You know, Pat's a good guy, friend of the show. Mitch was a friend of the show for a long time, so appreciate the compliments you're sending the family. That's very thoughtful of you. So, Cody, I want to get into this just a little bit, and then we'll hit a couple more voicemails, and I'll let you go do your work because I know you have a lot of it to do. We've talked all about the game and you know the on the field stuff. Just the stuff surrounding it, the emotion, the, hey, this is back. A note that I thought I'd share with you guys. Somebody did tell me after the game, Jeremy Macklin, Sean Weatherspoon, Denario Alexander, some of those guys were in the locker room after the game, like celebrating with the team, and was told it was really kind of a cool thing that, look, this mattered to these old guys that were here, right? I talked to a lot of them all week. You saw Justin Britt on Instagram, Corby Jones banging the drum. Like, this mattered to those guys, maybe more than it mattered coming into the guys on the current roster. But what did you think about all the non like actual game stuff around today and the rivalry and just the experience of, hey, we got MUKU again?
I loved it, man. Like, I thought it was really cool. Like, I spent part of my Friday down at the SEC Nation set up to talk to, I think we talked to Ryan McGee and Roman Harper, and like, you know, Ryan McGee is like a college football nerd. So like he knew all about the history dating all the way back to the Civil War and like just how these two teams kind of peaked in 2007, but there still has been so many great games in this rivalry. And, you know, Roman's grew up an Alabama guy, like played for the Crimson Tide, got drafted, played for New Orleans. Like he didn't really know a ton about it. And so like he was just kind of walking us through like, you know, hey, I had to learn this, I had to learn that. And he was telling a story about how, you know, I guess when he was at the airport, somebody recognized him because he's an SEC Network personality and said, hey, MIZ. And he's like, I had no idea what to say, like in response. Like he would like, you know, so like it was fun to see like a lot of the national people kind of lean into this. SEC Nation was really cool. College Game Day, I thought, did something small with it. Like SEC Network kind of pumped it up throughout the week just with conversations with Drink and, you know, just kind of diving into it a little bit more. Like I thought that was really cool. And then to be here on game day, like, you know, we parked at our normal parking spot. I walked down to SEC Nation and then we walked back to the tailgate for a minute. And it was just like, it was really cool to just like see everything, like see and feel the buzz in the air. And like every now and again, as I'm walking back and forth, we're spotting like, you know, KU fans who are wearing their, you know, red and blue. And it's just like, man, like they're really brave people. And there's people rolling their windows down, MFing them through the car window. And like, that was just like, that was really unique. Like, I guess early before the game even kicked off, there were a couple of KU fans that were in the MU student section that got escorted out by security. At least that's what I was told. I didn't see it exactly, but I was like, that probably makes sense. Probably more for protection than anything, because I think, you know, we all saw the, you know, burn Lawrence again sign. Like I love that this rivalry was back. Like I thought it was really, really cool. I hope that they continue to do it. Like, I know they've got future games on the schedule. I don't know that it's every year, but I know they play again in Lawrence next year. So, like, that'll be fun to see the return trip. Like, there's so much cool about a rivalry like this, and the fact that they brought it back. Like, I enjoyed it. Like, I think it's really cool. And, like, I grew up watching this rivalry, and the fact that it took them 14 years to get it back on the schedule, like, never take that long again. Like, they should play every year if they can. I loved it.
Well, and what I've been saying all week is, like, look, it's going to take a while. Like, they have some games that they've got to move around and stuff. So every year might be tough for a little bit. But if by like 2032 you can do this every year, then, you know, by 2040, kids just, it's normal. They will get back to knowing. Now, is it going to be exactly the same as it was when you were growing up or I was growing up? Maybe not, but like they'll get a feeling for it. These kids today, I feel like we're here and like they hated KU because they know they're supposed to hate KU, but they've never like actively had the opportunity to hate KU in person before. And now they got a taste of it. If you give them that taste every year, by the time they're seniors, they're going to figure out hating KU is kind of fun. I want to give you two moments today that I thought were great and kind of exemplified how like you can do this and have a good time with it without like people don't have to get stuff thrown at them and it doesn't have to be dangerous. It can be fun. Like, so at the beginning of the game, Missouri, before the game starts, while the teams are still on the field, 24 and a half minutes left, Missouri plays Mr. Brightside on the sound system for the first time. And the kids do what they're supposed to do, and they scream the F word and all that. And this is as Kansas is running off the field. And, like, the Kansas fans are waving to them and trying to hype them up and get it. The players are trying to get them to say it louder. Awesome. Second, they had a kid out there who's supposed to kick a 45-yard field goal to win money at one point during a timeout. So the kid, like, lines up like he's going to kick it, turns around, kicks the ball at the KU sideline, and lifts his shirt up to reveal FKU written on his chest. I mean, kid's a hero, man.
That was remarkable. That was
remarkable. It was just great. Like, he gave up his chance to win however many $1,000s to do that. Now, let's be honest. We saw the kid. The kid wasn't winning the damn thing. The kid was not going through. But, you know, it was still cool.
I enjoyed that. Like, I enjoyed it. And I told people on our board, like, all week, like, lean into it, lean into the hate. Like, it's been way too long since these two teams and these two fan bases got to talk trash. Like, I loved it. I loved the energy in the air in Columbia all day today. Like, it was, you know, it was kind of fun to just see them, you know, lean into it because I don't know, like college rivalries, like, that's what part of what makes this sport really good is like, you know, like I grew up over here, you grew up over there. I don't like your guys because you grew up over there and you don't like me because I grew up over here. Like it's just fun that way. It's way more fun. And just everything that led up to this game I thought was really, really cool. And then the game itself, obviously we discussed it, like it delivered. Like this is going to be one I think people remember, maybe not forever, but like this was a good way to bring the game back. We'll put it that way.
Right. Yeah. Like I got a text. I've got a really good friend. I know I'm not supposed to say this because like he was a KU fan, so we're not supposed to be friends, whatever. He's one of my best friends in life. I've been friends with him since I was 12. We're going to remain friends. Like he was texting me during the game, like he wasn't even mad. He's just like, dude, this lived up to every bit of what I wanted out of this game. You know, it was a fun game. I thought it was really good. I think I can sum up the chat by Gabe, I love you. New guy, I love you too, from Mr. David. This is the feeling of the chat because they won, so everybody loves us. We've done well today.
Shout out, Mr. David. I'm glad that I could come on board during a week when they were able to deliver a rivalry week win for you guys.
Let me before we'll get a couple more voicemails and then we'll let you go. Before we do that, let me throw something at you. 1:56 left in the first half. Mississippi State 17, Arizona State nothing.
Really?
Yeah. What do you think about that?
I'm a little surprised, actually.
Shocked. I am shocked. Yeah. So, all right, we're going to hit a couple more voicemails. Then I'm going to let Cody go get to work because he's got so much stuff to do over the next however many hours. As I always said when Gerard was here, he has more work to do than I do after this, so I can hang out here and listen to your insane voicemails for a little bit longer than he can. So let's hit
last call. I swear. If you screen these things, you can disregard the first ones. Really don't matter either way. 31-28, like, 8 minutes left or so? Somewhere in there. Last call. I've been hard because of the importance of this game. Our offensive line's got to get the next 2 or 3 weeks, how many weeks we have till South Carolina, our offensive line has to be just ran through the ringer by the defensive front in practice for them to get it. I don't want people being injured in practice, but we can't have our running backs making all the plays while our offensive line just stands around and watches.
I can't get past the pacing, man. I love the pacing. Like, what I love about the voicemail line is I don't even think they necessarily, a lot of them, need them to be played on the show or need us to reply. It's just this like verbal real-time therapy of like, I'm going through this, man. My team is, this game should be over, and it's not over because they're out here dicking around, and I need to talk about it a little bit, you know? And so that's what we're here for.
I don't blame him for that. And I think one thing maybe we haven't touched enough on, and I've seen a few comments here and there in the chat, is that the running backs I thought were really, really good today, right? Like Jamal Roberts, Ahmad Hardy, right? Roberts went 13 for 143 and a touchdown. He had the one that basically iced the game. Ahmad Hardy was not full workhorse, but we thought maybe he should have been. 25 attempts, 112 yards and a touchdown. 25 attempts. And so I just counted that up while we were listening to that voicemail because he had brought it up. 25 attempts. I counted 7. It was quick math, so it could be wrong, but 7 of his carries went for no yards or possibly like he was stopped for a loss. So like,
and most of those were actually really good runs that he did a good job to get even that out of.
Yeah, and I think Drink called him the eraser because there were times where the offensive line wasn't great. And again, I'd said earlier that's one of my reasons to mope is that like, hey, they may have played better against better competition, but they probably still aren't at the level that they need to be. Like they not good, not bad, just fine. They need to be good. They arguably need to be great. I think if you can at least get to good, you'll feel better about them. But I think we saw that a little bit sometimes in the run game. Even then, like Ahmad Hardy, like you can tell he's RB1. Jamal Roberts is a great sidekick / RB2, or one is A, one is B, 1, 2. Yeah, whatever you want to call it. Like these two guys they're clearly both home run hitters. Ahmad Hardy might be one of the toughest dudes on the field every time he steps on the field because it's like you and I were talking about it today. Like it takes 3 or 4 guys to wrap him up. If he just lowers his shoulder and falls forward, he'll gain 3 or 4 yards almost every single time. But then you add in his elusiveness. Like you can tell that dude's a ball player and he's going to be a factor for this Mizzou team, especially when they get into SEC play. And like that's, Bo threw the ball 39 times today. He dropped back, I think, what was it, like 42, 45 times or something like that. But this is an offense where even though the offensive line isn't quite at the level of good that they need to be at, this is a run game that this Missouri team can rely on. And it really helps, I thought, today. It really helps when you can lean on that and rely on that run game because then it really helps open up the rest of the offense.
I thought one of the coolest things to come out of the postgame, for those of you who don't know, Kevin Coleman and Jamal Roberts played high school ball together. They both went to St. Mary's in St. Louis. And I thought one of the coolest things was that Kevin said he was talking to Jamal Roberts, like in the second half today about, hey, man, stay patient. Your time's going to come. Because, like, Jamal Roberts put in his time. Jamal Roberts could easily have transferred this offseason because, like, he was in line to be the guy this year. Like, 2 years ago, Cody Schrader leaves. And they go out and recruit 2 guys in the portal and reduce his role. And then those guys both graduate and they go out. Like, it would have been very easy for Jamal Roberts to take off, and he didn't. And Kevin Coleman said, I was just telling him, man, like, your time's going to come. Just wait. And then he pops the 63-yarder to basically, like you said, ice the game. And I thought that was kind of cool because, like, Kevin Coleman is going to be a star on this team. Jamal Roberts maybe isn't, but, like, is clearly going to have a role and played that role a lot better. Like the gap between him and Hardy is less than I thought it was at the beginning of the day.
Yeah. And like this, I hope this isn't forgotten, but like obviously he had the 63-yarder to ice it, but he also had the 39-yarder at the end of the first half to really spark that drive for them to get.
Yeah, he had a 100-yard day on 2 carries.
Yeah, like he was tremendous. I see a few comments in the chat. Shout out St. Mary's. Like, yeah, this is a guy that's definitely bided his time, and it would have been easy for him to transfer somewhere else to go find more carries, whether it's at the FBS level or even, maybe he takes a step down to the FCS level, becomes, blows up and then goes back to FBS. But this is a guy that's bided his time. He's clearly showing through the first couple of weeks that he is a guy that Missouri can lean on. And I thought he was great today. Like he's got that breakaway speed. And like when you have 2 dudes that can be home run hitters like that, and you have an offensive line that you trust in run blocking, like that's a little bit of a cheat code for an offense. And so if you're Kirby Moore, especially after today, I bet you're licking your chops to make sure that those guys get more carries moving forward.
For sure. So I could let you sit here and listen to the last 14 voicemails with me if you want, but I have a feeling you would prefer probably to get started on just give the people kind of an idea of what you've got planned here in the next 24 hours, post-game coverage, all that, and then we'll let you run and get going to it.
Yeah, the first thing I plan on writing, I'll get that up later tonight, is just this was a roller coaster of a game. And like we alluded to it, like Mizzou got punched in the mouth in the first quarter. Some of it was self-inflicted. Others was just like, hey, like that's a pretty good quarterback on the other side of the ball. But they were able to respond to it, right? And so that I thought was really, really impressive. They were able to ride the wave of emotions. They were able to tie it by half, and they were able to really, really take control of the game, especially down the stretch. I think after Kansas kicked the field goal to go up 24-21, Mizzou outscored them 21-7 the rest of the way. And so, like, just to be able to have the mental fortitude there, like, that's going to bode well for a team that has pretty big goals moving forward. I thought that was pretty notable. Tomorrow morning, first thing up, I'll have the report card. I'm not going to do it exactly the same way as Gerard did, but I know that you guys loved it. So I'll do my spin on the report card. And then I'll probably I might have another story on Bo tomorrow later in the morning, maybe early afternoon, or maybe I'll just, after I get done re-listening to everything, maybe I'll just kind of empty a full notebook sometime early morning, late afternoon for the website. So those are the things I'm immediately going to be working on. And then I'll rewatch the game on Sunday, and we'll have a full flushed out rewatch column first thing Monday morning.
Perfect. Also, you might enjoy going on Twitter. Petty Eli Drinkwitz is going to be on Twitter, it looks like, tonight. He just retweeted someone saying, if he loses to Kansas, Drinkwitz has to be fired. I would pull all NIL funding if I was a whale. Unacceptable. And Drinkwitz retweeted it and said, guess we'll never know. So I think Petty Eli is going to be in his bag tonight.
He was there at the press conference. I think he poked fun. Was at the one of the student reporters that he was just like, you picked Kansas to win.
Yeah, I'm not going to call him out by name, but there was a student reporter who on their podcast picked Kansas to win the game. And that's like sometimes, like I will probably pick Missouri to lose a game at some point this year. It wasn't going to be this one, man.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Yeah, so. But Drink did say, you're probably feeling pretty good about it in the first quarter. Yeah. Well,
I enjoyed that interaction. I think the more I sit and talk and listen to Drink, the more I think I'm going to enjoy him. And I mean, hey, like that's, he's probably going to have a pretty good time too this season, because I think he knows he's got a pretty good team.
Yeah, he's 22-5 over his last 27. He's doing all right, man. So Cody, appreciate it, man. We'll let you run and get to writing, and I will finish up with the folks here.
Enjoy the voicemails, and everybody else be safe tonight, but go enjoy the win.
All right, we'll talk to you later, man. That is Cody Goodwin, off to give you guys a full post-game coverage of this one. I've got some video waiting to upload. I've got a column to write too, but we got time, guys. It's only 8:15. We've had over 700 people on here the whole time. We've topped out, I think, a little over 900. I know there's a lot of comments waiting, so I'm going to check real quick if there's anything, pressing that we need to get to in the chat, but then want to finish up the voicemails because people did, people have called in and all that. I mean, hundreds of things here. So, some compliments for Cody. Also saw Gerard Hamilton earlier in the chat. He shouted out Kirby Moore as the MVP of the day. I actually kind of tend to agree with that. I thought Kirby had a really good day, but all right, let's hit it. Let's get to the voicemails and finish these things up.
Hey, Gabe, how's it going, man? This is Josh calling from your old stomping grounds, Rapid City, South Dakota. Just watched Jamal Roberts streak down the sideline for 63 yards to ice this game for the Missouri Tigers. This game was everything it was hyped up to be. Back and forth. Mizzou wins in the end. Eli Drinkwitz in close games. I mean, what an asset he's been in these types of games. Kirby Moore, too. Bo Prabula, I think he proved himself as a legit SEC starting quarterback in this game. I mean, every time they needed something, he was there. But I just want to emphasize, that run by Jamal Roberts, because that's one of those plays now when you look back on the history of the border war, and Jamal Roberts will live in immortality for Missouri fans and in infamy for Kansas fans. What a run. What a way to close it out. Great game. MIZ. Enjoy today, Gabe.
Have to agree with all that. I'll say this, and this is not shade toward Jamal Roberts. Really cool moment, big run. That was the one that ended it. But the biggest plays of this game, I thought, were Bo Prabula to Kevin Coleman on 4th and 7 to keep the drive going. And then later in that drive, Bo Prabula to Brett Norfleet on 4th and 1 for the lead. Like, they maybe still win that game without Roberts' run. They probably don't still win that game without those 2 4th down conversions. And the first one, 4th and 7, like he was going to Coleman the whole way. We talked about the catch he made. Donovan Alubade then caught a 3rd down pass. And, like, when he caught it, I thought that's an easy first down. And he just didn't turn it up. He was trying to get to the edge and make a huge play rather than just turning it up to get to the sticks. And hey, I think Donovan Alubade is going to be a star. He made some plays today, but that's one of those ones where in film they'll probably say, "All right, man, we don't need 40 here. We need 4," and we got 3. So, but that set up 4th and 1, and that Brett Norfleet kind of hiding him across the formation goes out 27-yard touchdown. So those were like the plays everybody's going to remember. But shout out Jamal Roberts too. Nice finish, no question.
Upside on this team is as good as any I've seen in a long, long time. Old timer 58 out.
Yeah, I think I agree. Like, you guys should be excited right now. There's zero question, right? Like, the thing about this game is there was so much downside for Missouri. I posted at halftime, you are playing for your season, because if you don't win this game, you don't get to talk about the playoff. That's all done. And so that's what was on the line. You can still talk about all those things. Are they realistic? We won't know that probably for a few weeks, but you can still talk about them for now. The ceiling, I agree, and we talked about this, I think is incredibly high. You can tell me this is a playoff team, and I can see it from here, no question. Now, they're going to have some tough moments, right? Like, South Carolina comes here in 2 weeks, and they're, like somebody asked Drinkwitz about the way Bo responded in a really high-stakes environment, and Drink said, "Have you been to Auburn? Places are going to get a whole lot tougher than this." They were all cheering for him today. So it's going to get tougher than it was today. And they're going to have questions to answer and all that, no doubt in the world. But all they can do is what they've done so far. And, they won in a laugher, and then they won in one that they were tested and they were pushed, and they had to find something, and they found it. So absolutely, you should be high on the ceiling of this team right now.
Hi, Gabe. Man, what a win by the Tigers. I was super nervous, though, man, after that first quarter. Whew, we looked horrible. But they stepped it up in the second quarter and pretty much took it over in the second half. Way to go, Tigers. M-I-Z.
I don't know if that's a real accent or a fake one. I kind of enjoyed it either way.
Man, that was kind of rough. Oh, boy. I don't think I was going to be able to eat for the rest of the year if we'd have lost that game, especially 21-6 in the beginning. Yeesh. M-I-Z. But no, they did look good. The running backs did their thing. We made it happen. Man, why was I so nervous to lose to Kansas? That was really bothering me. That's crazy. I'm like, wow, we got a lot to clean up. But we won. We pulled it off. The running backs is some grown men. Bo looked good. He a pretty decent thrower. So, M-I-Z. Gabe?
I can't disagree with any of that. Look, Drinkwitz said the same thing after the game. He said, "Hey, there's a lot of things I'm really happy about, and I'm real proud of my team for digging down and finding this when they were down 21-6, but there's a whole lot of things we got to fix." And that's where coaches love to be. Yeah, we won, but I got a lot of things to teach. That's their favorite thing.
Okay, Gabe. Old Jay here. First off, apparently tight ends were completely invisible to both defenses during that game. That was a little frustrating for Mizzou. Second of all, Jamal Roberts actually having more yards than Hardy, I think, is incredible. Carnell with that amazing interception. Good win. That first quarter, I guess maybe Mizzou was just playing with their food. 36-10 after that game, after that quarter. Hell of a game. Bo was the guy. M-I-Z.
So a couple things. First of all, I met Old Jay at the tailgate today, and want to once again shout out Yuengling. First of all, put on a really cool event with us today. They provided a lot of the stuff, a lot of the beverages and the spot and all that. So we had a lot of people out there. Dennis Gates swung by. Really good time. Yuengling does sponsor this show. every single week after the season. The oldest brewery in America. I tried the Oktoberfest today. No, I didn't. I had to work. I didn't try any of that. But I know somebody who tried the Oktoberfest and told me it was really good. So shout out to Britt for hooking me up with one of those. My friend up with one of those. It was very good. Thanks to Yuengling. Now back to what Old Jay was calling about. Look, we haven't talked enough about Brett Norfleet. Because for 2 years, everybody said, man, this guy, he's a great athlete. He has it. He's going to be really good. He just can't stay on the field. I'll be honest, guys. I've never really seen it. And everybody kept asking me, hey, is this the year we see the tight end? And I said, I don't know, man. Like, they tell us every year we're going to see the tight end, and we never see the tight end. Brett Norfleet, 7 catches, 76 yards, 2 touchdowns on 8 targets, 54 yards after catching. Best game of Brett Norfleet's career, zero question. Came in the postgame interview room, said, this is my first postgame interview. So excited. Let's go. He's absolutely a hilarious kid with a great personality. I hope you guys get to hear from him more. I'll have the video of him afterwards. But I have said a million times, what takes an offense from good to great is a tight end. That's the difference between a good offense and a great offense. Kirby Moore has all the pieces at his disposal. We've talked a lot about the running backs. We've talked a lot about the receivers. We've talked a lot about the quarterback. He has a tight end, guys, and he's using it. 7 catches, 78 yards, 2 touchdowns. Maybe the best sign of the day, in my opinion, from this one.
I believe in Bo Prabula. Man, if this guy isn't at least in the top 10 in considerations for the Heisman, I don't know what these guys are doing. That was an awesome win, a great win. Look, I was a little worried there that first quarter, like a lot of people, but I believe in Prabula. Man, this guy is awesome. I am so happy now. M-I-Z.
Look, you should be excited about Bo. I'm not trying to give out Heisman's after 2 weeks, but no, absolutely be excited about him. He's played really well.
Imagine not wanting to play that game. Cutlass is a bitch.
There you go. That kind of sums it up.
Gabe, Cody, let's go MIZ, FKU. You know, that Jamal Roberts run did a hell of a lot for this guy right here. Not only did it salt away the game, I was afraid he was going to go down or let himself get tackled to keep the clock running and ice it out. Big news for me. Ron got MU -5.5 and -6.5. We doubled down on the bet and securing the big win. Great win for the boys. I think Bo Prabula is a dude, and he's got weapons. Kevin Coleman, I don't know. Did we upgrade at wide receiver wearing number 3? I think we may have. I really do. For this year. I am blown away. We got great performances. Donovan, Brett Norfleet coming alive. Stay healthy, young man. MIZ, FKU forever.
All right, if you're watching on the YouTube stream, you just saw a look hit my face. Ron did not say what I thought he was going to say. I thought he was going to say, did we upgrade a quarterback? And yes, Missouri upgraded a quarterback. And I really, I love Brady Cook. I love his story. He did a lot of really cool things here. Missouri's better at quarterback this year than it was last year. But that's not what Ron said. Ron said, did we upgrade at wide receiver wearing number 3 this year? Woo! That is week 2 fire take. Man, what if I put it this way? I don't think so, but I don't really think they downgraded much either. I think the ceiling of Luther Burden is higher. He's bigger. I think he's got elusiveness that you just don't see. Burden as a sophomore, I think 1,200 and some odd yards. People were going into last year saying with a big year, Luther could break Denario Alexander's all-time receiving record at Missouri, and he could have. He didn't, but he could have. he didn't have a great year last year. Some of that was his fault. Some of it wasn't. I think Coleman will have a better year this year than Luther did last year. I don't think I'm ready to say Kevin Coleman is a better football player or receiver than Luther. But I also probably didn't think I would even have entertained that thought 2 months ago. And now, I don't know, it's not completely asinine to ask. Can I put it that way? Tyler Ray, super chat. Appreciate you, man. Finally seeing Norfleet's potential as a weapon in the passing game. Absolutely. I think you sent that before I was talking about it just a couple minutes ago, but we completely agree. Really happy for Brett, too. Seriously, great kid. I think you guys will really enjoy seeing the video of him in the post-game press conference. Andrew Kessel, you're here with us all the time, man. Really appreciate that super chat. And thank you very much. Thanks. We're still at almost 700 guys. Awesome to have all of you here in the super chats again. Gabe is guilty of star bias. Truman saying, look, I would have said 2 months ago, no way that Coleman is better than Luther. I'm saying now it's not out of the question to ask it. That's progress. Coleman has a little bit. I want to see it a little bit more, but I understand why Ron was asking. Matthew Dresner, why do you think they didn't target Marquise more? Coleman was making plays. Norfleet was making plays. Donovan Olubade made plays. There's only so many footballs. Marquise got dinged up a little bit on one. And I think good passing games have more than one guy. I think part of the problem last year was everyone was so focused on Luther and getting the ball to Luther that it almost bogged down the offense a little bit. Not because he's not a good player, but because that's where the offense always wanted to go, and the defense knew it. Now, Coleman has 10 catches, but like in the last game, Marquise had 5 for 134. Next game could be Josh Manning, could be Donovan Olubade, could be Norfleet. There's a lot more options this year, I think. And I think if Luther Burden and Theo Weiss had played with this number of options, I think maybe they would have both benefited from that.
Imagine not wanting to play that game.
Oh, yeah, we did that one.
Gabe, Cody, let's
did that one.
Hey, Gabe, it's MD 2020 here. Great, gritty win by Mizzou. It seems like, this could be RBU that this is turning into here. Also, do you think the lack of the use of the Wildcat was due to the Sam Horn injury last year? Can't wait to get your thoughts. Thanks.
I don't know if by Wildcat you mean like a different formation or if you just mean not running Bo as much. I didn't really think about it, but Drinkwitz said, hey, we're not going to change anything because of the injuries to Blake Craig and Sam Horn. And he obviously changed a bunch because the injury to Blake Craig. It's what my column is going to be about tonight. And Bo didn't really have many designed runs. He had 9 carries for 6 yards. I'm going to guess most of those were scrambles. I don't know exactly. But I know he had a couple designed runs, but I don't think it was more than that. I think that's absolutely because of the Sam Horn injury. I don't. So if that's what you're asking, I think that's a direct correlation.
Cody, welcome to the team. Gabe, fatty vibe in the stadium today. One takeaway, Drink does not trust his kicker. And you know what? Neither do I. M-I-Z.
So you're right. He doesn't trust him, but he did talk about that after the game. He didn't want to put him in a huge spot this week. And I respect it. It's good for the kid. Look, there's going to come a time where Robbie Meyer is going to have to kick a field goal that's longer than 30 yards, and that field goal is going to matter. You don't want it to be week one. Like I said, I'm going to write my column around this a little bit. And Drink flat out said, hey, we did some things differently this week because we didn't have Blake. So he's not denying it. I'm not ready to say he doesn't trust him yet. If we're still calling plays this way in week 9, okay, yes, he doesn't trust it. But there's going to come a time he has to kick more than a 30-yard field goal. And so we'll see what happens at that point.
Hey, Gabe. First time caller here. Just got a chance to catch the end of the Missouri game. Had to go to church, so I had to pause it. Thankfully, I turned my phone on Do Not Disturb. What a way to end the border war. Hard fought game. You go 21 unanswered in the first quarter and then answer back like that. Tells a lot about your team's character. So, MIZ.
Guys, I don't know what to make of the fact that while we were in the middle of the voicemail about the guy talking to go to church, we hit 666 viewers in the stream. Fortunately, we're at 668. We're off that number now. I don't know. Cosmic forces coming together here on the Yuengling postgame show.
Hi, Gabe. I think the Tigers played pretty doggone good today. Hopefully that first quarter isn't a sign of stuff to come. But, man, pretty big win, really. You win by 11 against your most hated rival after being down kind of in a scary sense. That's a good day. Love you. Bye.
I love that Tiger Terry has gotten so many of you to come up with fake voices to call into the show. And I do want to be clear. I will find Tiger Terry's voicemail. We've only got one more. Maybe this is him. We've got more that we just, because of internet problems and because we were a little limited, we didn't download every voicemail we got. Like, we downloaded about 20. I think we got more than twice as many. And we can't run them all on every show. They're not labeled as they come in. So if we've got Tiger Terry, I'll find it and I'll share it with you guys as soon as we finish up the rest of our post-game stuff. But I'm going to hit the last one we've got here.
What an absolutely unbelievable game. That is exactly how an MU-KU game should end. But I've got to say, I'm a little concerned for the defense. Putting the negativity away, Bo is the man, and he has some amazing receivers to throw that ball to. And I'm so glad to see Norfleet come out of his shell and make plays. This could be a very special year if things keep progressing and if the defense can get just a little bit better. MIZ.
I think that hit on all the high points and the low point. Like, yeah, there are some defensive questions, no doubt. Bo looked great, receivers look great, running backs look great, Norfleet looked great. Offensive line, we'll see. Kirby Moore did well. And as someone said, is that AI? Certainly possible, guys. Certainly, I don't know. Again, people are just inventing voices to calling in with this show, calling into this show. So certainly possible, but it was a good summary of it. Also, I don't understand AI. Good for you guys, I guess. I don't know. I hope nobody got access to my bank account by leaving an AI voicemail on our show. But whatever. It made good points, as scarily as it might be, So if you guys have questions, we're at about 1:15. I'd like to wrap this up by an hour and a half, no later if I can do it. But we've still got 650 people on here. So I want to make sure we take care of everything you guys want taken care of while you're here. Keep asking questions, and I will get to them as much as I can. We've got a few more super chats. I want to make sure that everybody get up. T-Ride says Prebula to LB3 would have been deadly. Absolutely, no question. Yup, saying everyone was on smoke with Zach Sweet. So Zach was the kid that picked Kansas on the Student Newspapers podcast. And look, I would not have advised him to make that pick. First of all, because I thought Missouri was clearly a better football team. I'm just going to tell, I've always taken this approach, guys. If I truly don't know, if I think a game's a coin flip, why would I pick against Missouri and just give you reason to be pissed off at me? If I think a game's a coin flip, I'm probably going to pick Missouri. Now, if I legitimately think Missouri's going to get beat and there's reasons why, I'll pick that. Sure. And I've done that and been wrong, and no question. Wouldn't have done it in this game. Missouri is clearly a better team than KU. But hey, he owned it. He handled it well. Eli gave him some shit for it. The post-game press conference. Dalen Carnell absolutely did. And, like I said, he handled it well. And that's good because, frankly, he deserved it. So that is okay. So Sir Smokes a lot. Any big recruiting news coming? Not football-wise that we know of. Tony Bryant's in town basketball. I've heard good things. Does that mean good things are coming? It's getting wrapped up this weekend. I don't know that. But I have heard some good things. and there's at least hope. So we're definitely going to try to get news on that. Speaking of basketball, Drew says that the AI guy definitely got my bank info. That's sad. I'm going to need more super chats from you guys if I get robbed by the AI voicemail guy. Everwin Bees, do you think the pass rush would have been better if we were not trying to contain the QB? That's a good point. Like, I'm not sure how much they were trying to absolutely get after him. I thought Chris McClellan played well. I thought he was in the backfield a decent amount. Marquise Gracial caused a fumble. I still need to see a little bit more out of that spot next to McClellan, but that's probably a good point. Asking about recruits at the game today. Sean Williams will be in touch with those guys over the next few days and get some feedback there. Will we be ranked finally? They were 28 in the coaches poll last week. So let me just, because I know this matters to you guys, right? Either Michigan or Oklahoma is going to lose, but those two teams might be high enough. They still stay above Missouri. 13th ranked Florida lost to USF. I think Florida probably falls out of the poll. Other than that, like, not a lot of top 25 action. Let's see what else happened today. A lot of teams playing a lot of really bad teams. Arizona State's getting pounded right now early in the second half by Mississippi State. They lose that. I think they should drop out. Not sure they will, but they should. Clemson struggled but did beat Troy. I mean, they're 1-1 with an unimpressive win. If it was actually a ranking of the top 25 teams in the country right now, Clemson wouldn't be ranked, but they will be. Baylor beat SMU. SMU's probably out. I think Missouri's got a decent chance to get in somewhere between 20 and 25 there, and then just kind of hang in and see what it looks like after the South Carolina game. Where was Toriano? Is he worse than the other guys who couldn't cover the wide open KU receivers? I'll have to look at snap counts. I know he started, and I'm pretty sure it was him and Norwood to start. I don't know. I'll have to see snap counts tomorrow. I saw Stephen Hall out there at times too, so I'm not sure 100% why that was, and I'm not really going to know that probably until tomorrow morning, to be quite honest with you. Let's see. Florida losing makes the SEC more wide open for us. Florida was never going to win the national or the SEC title, I don't think. But sure, it's a loss for somebody. Game day in Columbia versus South Carolina. I'm pretty sure probably not, because I think there are some fantastic games there that weekend. I'm just going to go to the schedule. Florida's at Miami. Maybe they go there. That doesn't do a lot for me. Syracuse at Clemson is nothing. Illinois at Indiana, like I could see them maybe doing that. I don't know. It's not impossible that South Carolina, Missouri could get that now that Florida lost. I think Illinois, Indiana's in the conversation. Baylor has a loss. Arizona State might lose. SMU lost. Like Auburn and Oklahoma, they were at Oklahoma this week. They're not going there. It's actually possible, guys. Yeah. There's a ways to go, but I think it's not impossible that game day is here in 2 weeks. Missouri, South Carolina might end up being the game of the week. I don't know who South Carolina has next week, but we'll see. So you heard a little bit about what Cody's working on. I'm going to have post-game video. Connor shot the post-game video for us, and I will put all that together in a story when I get off here. I've got a column. I'll give you the gist of it. It's Eli Drinkwitz came out, and whether it was because it was Kansas and he wanted to be aggressive or because he didn't have a kicker, like this was the fourth down game. And he set the tone early and he stuck with it, and his team rewarded him for it. When they absolutely had to have it, Missouri made big plays. Donovan Olubade, 4th and 10. Kevin Coleman, 4th and 7. Brett Norfleet, 4th and 1. They kept moving the chains when they absolutely had to move the chains. And beating KU is never a bad thing. I said all week, I think people were more excited about this than I thought they were going to be. I think the excitement level after the win will be good, but a little bit muted because it's week 2. A lot of things to fix. Not perfect today, right? Still question marks about this team, but they spotted a power conference team, a 21-6 lead, and won by double digits. 36-10 after the start, guys. That was a dominant 3 quarters of football. Dominant 3 quarters. And you can't take away the first quarter. It still counts, right? So you can't just say Missouri won 36-10 or whatever. But Missouri was a significantly better team. There's zero question about it. Missouri was the better team on the field today, and it wasn't close. Like, I have a friend who covers KU who said after that game, Missouri should have won the game by 21 points. And I think he's right. Missouri's 20 points better than KU. Like, if they played this game again, they would be much more than a 7-point favorite. But the first quarter did happen. Maybe the emotion was a little much, nerves, things like that. I don't know. But Missouri's through it 2-0. You didn't want the season to end today. The season didn't end. They're still alive. Louisiana next week shouldn't be an issue. I could see maybe a little bit of a slow start because you're coming off this one. Maybe down 7-3 after a quarter or something. But I don't think next week will be any issue by the end, which should set up 3-0 with South Carolina coming to town. And that was always, always, always the goal. Get to South Carolina at 3-0. Missouri's 60 minutes from being there and almost certainly will get there. So I appreciate you guys hanging out. Hope you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Guys, I'm seeing the ref comments. There were some bad calls. No question. But Missouri won the game 42-31, so no worries. Bad calls, no doubt. And the face mask call, I couldn't see well enough. Everybody said it was bad, so I'll trust see it was bad. There was a spot on a Jalen Daniels run that was awful. But whatever. Don't need to get too bogged down in that. But appreciate all you guys being here. I want you to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I want you to grab a Yuengling, right? Like, there was a bunch of them had pregame. I can absolutely attest to that. Again, not me. I would never have a drink before a game. But I saw people having them. They all told me they were very good. They all enjoyed it. Mike and Britt put everything together for us, did a great job. Really appreciate the space they had. Appreciate all of you guys that were here. We're there hanging out with us, and we're here hanging out with us. So we will have all kinds of stuff coming for the next couple days. If you're one of the people that you watch us here and you enjoy it, and guys, the viewership, the numbers this week have been through the roof. Like, by far our busiest week ever on YouTube, and really appreciate that. But if you watch us here and you don't read us over at Power Mizzou, please go check us out. 60% off your first year through Tuesday night. So just give us a shot. It's going to cost you like, I don't know, 45, something like that, $45 for the first year. Go do that. I think you'll like it. If you don't, just quit. Come hang out with us on YouTube. Got to get one more super chat in from Atheos YOLO on the way out the door. Thank you very much, y'all. Thanks to Cody Goodwin. Hope you enjoyed his first week. I know he did. We got more to do. We will talk to you next time.